I thought learning psychology would teach me how to understand other people. I was wrong. The strangest things that happened after started learning psychology was that I started noticing about myself. And once you start noticing yourself, ordinary things don't feel quite as ordinary anymore. Like for example, like imagine someone does not reply to your message, and before your brain immediately goes like they don't like me, I said something wrong, they are avoiding me. After learning psychology, like about how our minds interrupt incomplete information, you start catching something you know they didn't reply. Like that's the fact. Every time, like everything after that, it's your interpretation. Like and suddenly there is a tiny gap between what happened and what your brain told you happened. And that's the one of the most biggest things psychology started changing for me. I become more suspicious about my first thought, not because my first thought is always wrong, no, because I started realizing that my brain does not show like reality like a camera, and it interrupt me. Like we use mental shortcut all the time. They are useful for our brain can't carefully analyze every pieces of information we encounter, but those shortcut can also produce like predictable errors in judgment. And once you learn that, you start seeing it everywhere. Like you get angry at someone and instead of like immediately believing like they are disrespecting me, you catch yourself thinking like, wait, what is exactly happening? Someone gives you a compliment, so instead of like immediately becoming attached to that person, you are start noticing like how quickly your brain turns a one nice interaction into the whole story about that person. You make a mistake, and instead of like I am a terrible at this, you start creating like what happened from the identity you are creating around it. And this doesn't mean that you suddenly become the calm and perfectly rational. You still get angry, you still overthink, you still make stupid decisions. That's not the point. The point is that you start catching yourself again and again. I think that's where the psychology become useful in real life. You stop being completely inside your reaction and you start becoming to observe of them. Like you notice, oh, I am doing these things again and again. Why did I bother that? Like why does thing bother me so much? Why do I suddenly want someone else approve? Why I assuming I know what they are thinking, and I am avoiding this? And something you didn't even have the answer, but now you are asking the better question. That's the huge difference, because there is a psychological problem called base blind spot. Like we tend to notice the bases of the other people more easily than in ourselves. Like, and honestly, that's the one of the most humbling thing about learning psychology. You starting learning about the human behavior and you slowly realize, oh shit, I am a human too. And I think that's why psychology can change you in real life, not because you learn some strict trick to control people, not because you suddenly become emotionally perfect, and definitely not because you are memorizing a bunch of the psychology drum. Not at all. It because you start questioning the automatic stories your mind gives you, and you become a little harder to fool even by yourself. And maybe what's the real self-improvement actually is, not because someone who never gets angry, never gets ignored, never get insecure, never get attached, never make a mistakes. And maybe it's becoming a someone who can actually notice what happening inside them before blindly act on it. Because once you start noticing your own mind, you can't really go to back at being completely unaware of it. Yes, and psychology didn't teach me how to control people. It taught me how to notice my own self, like how to notice my own myself. And that's the different.